Let's talk about jealousy. At 8 o'clock tonight, I want you to tune into Richard Cooper's channel over at Entrepreneurs and Cars. We're going to spend a good hour, maybe hour and a half, it depends on how long he wants to go, dissecting the issue of destructive jealousy. This is a really important topic. I think most people right now who study sexual dynamics don't know or don't realize, or maybe they're just not talking about it, how impacting our jealousy instinct can be on our behaviors as men and how we show up in our relationships with women, with dating and during courtship and sexually and all those things. The myth that kind of gets promoted here is that male jealousy comes from insecurity. So there's an assumption that if a guy has a jealous instinct or has jealous behaviors, that he's being insecure. I'll talk more about it on Rich's show, but that is not true from an evolutionary perspective. Sometimes insecurity and jealousy can go hand in hand, but the origin of male jealousy is not insecurity, whereas the origin of female jealousy is insecurity. We will talk about that more on the show. All I just have to do is I'll give you this analogy. Would you call a silverback gorilla that beats up an opposing gorilla and sends him on his way so that gorilla doesn't mate with his prized females in his tribe, would you call that silverback gorilla insecure? I hope not. The point is, male jealousy by itself is not an insecurity. It's a protective quality. It's designed to protect territory. It's designed to protect paternity, because males can't know once she's pregnant whose baby it actually is. Men throughout history have instincts, and this is the instinct of jealousy, that's designed to protect men from basically being cucked or raising a child that's not his, or putting resources to offspring that doesn't belong to him. So if we look at selfish gene theory, in order for that man's genes to propagate into the next generation, jealousy was a protective quality to help him do that. And jealousy does have uses today. The instinct of jealousy, I'm not talking about like the behaviors or destructive behaviors, but the actual instinct can be useful today. But the problem we run into is that we're in a global sexual marketplace. The amount of people that the average woman under 30 today has slept with and had sex with would make her unmarriable 70 years ago. Even in polyamorous tribes, this is where everybody in the tribe was swapping mates, you still might only be dealing with 4 or 5 sexual partners in that person's, before you get to her, that person's lifetime. So when you're dealing with between 20, 30, 50 partners, which is pretty average for a female in 2020, who by the time she hits 30 anyway, that puts our jealousy instinct on overdrive. What would have been considered, she would have been considered unmateable. That would have been a warning sign in our past not to mate with her, because the likelihood of her being loyal, taking care of those children, not mate switching, not being with somebody else and then having you take care of somebody else's children, that likelihood was really high with not higher notch counts, and yet that's normal today. We also have a global sexual marketplace with the internet where we have endless sexual opportunities, which our instinctual brains are not designed to handle. This leads to all kinds of maladaptive behaviors for men. This leads to weaker men trying to pretend like things aren't issues, and to, oh no, she loves me, it's fine, do whatever she wants, she can talk to whatever other dudes, she can go hang out with her exes, and to pretend like there's not a problem. It causes men to not try in relationships, to let their sexual market value decline, because if she's already had sex with better people and has access to sex with better people, it leads to a despairing unconscious state, and so men stop trying. Or when men recognize this stuff, they become very nihilistic. Hey, it's just your turn, you're not her first choice. All of that rhetoric starts happening, and then that prevents a guy from accurately vetting a woman, setting standards, and allowing himself to openly have healthy emotional ties to her. And so there's a number of things that happen with the jealousy instinct that we have that's a protective measure that now is on overdrive and causing us to, as men, destroy our relationships one way or the other. So that's the summary of what we're going to talk about, but there's a lot more to it, obviously. But I'm telling you, this is a key component to understanding relationships, to understanding yourself as a man, and to being able to move forward and have the peak experiences and great relationships and experiences with women in your life. If you want that stuff, you have to understand this instinct of jealousy, know how to handle it, and steer it into a productive direction. If you do not know how to do that, you're going to do a bunch of behaviors that are going to get in the way of you having the most out of your relationships with women. So that's what I'm going to talk about on Rich's channel. We're going to dive deep for a good hour and a half, and I'm excited about that. I haven't done a video in a while because I've been working on a number of projects, but this is kind of one of them. So I hope that you can tune in at 8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a good show with a lot of good topics. Throw things in the chat or the super chat, ask me questions, and we can get to the bottom of some of these issues. Hopefully get to the bottom of these things for you so you can action more productive strategies in your life and have better interactions with women in your life. And of course, you have access to me. There's my email address in the description. You want coaching, additional help, any of that stuff, you know where to find me. Not to mention, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, because we have a lot of good content here, a lot of good things that we're talking about, and that helps me, and that helps support what I'm doing. So thanks again. I appreciate it. I hope to see you at 8 o'clock tonight over at Entrepreneurs in Cars.